there. Welcome to my Smarter Real Estate video series weekly on Wednesdays. I'm Julie Tam, managing broker at LYN REALTY, and I am joined today by a very special guest, Manu Gupta. Hey, Manu.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Manu is the managing director of Indus Management Group, which has about 30 apartment complexes throughout a lot of Houston, a lot of parts of Houston, some key parts of Houston that we're going to be talking about today. And just to give you a little preview, our company doesn't manage apartment complexes. We help people to buy and sell and also rent, and we manage individual scattered site housing. So I first want to lay out the definition of what that is. So that would be single family homes, townhomes, condos, duplexes, triplexes, quadplexes, mid and high rise units, so individually owned. But then Manu's business model is buying up entire apartment communities where the entire complex, however many units, is all owned by one entity, in this case being your company and then investors. And I so happen to invest in one of your apartment complexes, so I at least trust you enough. But I also know where you live and work, so if it doesn't go well,
You know where to find me.
Right, exactly. Manu and I are also both graduates of Rice University, so we have that in common. There's obviously a level of trust there as well, and we've also become great friends, over the years of knowing each other. So yeah, Manu, we want to dive into, first of all, what your company does. Tell me a little bit about it and where the different apartment complexes are located. Show us that.
Yeah, so well, just a little about me. Grew up here in Houston. Like we said, went to Rice, and I've been doing this for about 9 years. I made a switch from my medical career to real estate, just lifestyle reasons and wanting to settle back down here in Houston. And we've grown from 6 apartment complexes when I joined. It was my dad's company, and now we're at 30 apartment complexes, about 8,500 units all around Houston. And yeah, let me share the screen real quick, and I will give you an idea of where the map of our properties are, so you can kind of see them over here. All our properties are, west of 45, mainly in the Southwest Houston, West Chase area, A-Leaf, and Spring Branch. Sorry about that little pop-up. But yeah, those are the majority of our properties. And a lot of people ask why we haven't moved out of Houston. The question is, there's still a lot of opportunity here. And just for quality of life, we want to be able to drive to all our properties if there's ever an issue. And we're more of a hands-on kind of team.
Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit during this call about just kind of the apartment model that you guys are after, and just the market for apartments and that sort of thing in Houston. I mean, overall is a pretty stable market. We don't see huge swings like some of the East and West Coast markets do, with big ups and big downs. And so if you're a little bit more conservative, not as risk averse, but still there's still opportunities though for some big gains in the Houston area. So it's not like it's just this stable steadiness, right? Like it's a good steady growth. That's the usual trend. But then you also see some nice spikes and things, but just not a whole lot of huge drops. Is what we've seen just over the years. Has that been kind of your experience?
Yeah, I mean, Houston's a pretty well insulated market. I know a lot of people think we're just still oil and gas, but we're a really diverse market with a lot of tech companies moving in. I think, HP just moved into Houston, and there's a bunch of other companies that are looking to move down to Texas in general. So it's really helped diversify our economy. So we're able to, take the blows that some other cities aren't. In 2009, we were able to withstand what happened and in the last few years. Last year was a little rough for us, with coronavirus and everything and layoffs, but we weathered the storm. We're doing okay. The biggest thing that we did as a company, we shifted our focus towards our residents and our employees. So one of the biggest things, and I wanted to share some resources that we put together for all our residents and anyone who wants to visit site. We made a comprehensive COVID-19 resources webpage. So you can find anything from medical to household to food, education, anything you need to kind of help you out during these times. So if people want to visit it, they can visit our website and just click the COVID-19 resources link. And we found this is a great way to centralize all that information that's out there, because there's so much, out there that people just need help finding. We raised as a company, we helped centralize a third party giving, all these financial assistances out there. We raised $1.5 million this year for residents through third party organizations, NGOs, anything that's out there. We help centralize the process. So that was important to us. And then we have partnerships with the Houston Food Bank, with Memorial Hermann, Texas Children's. I think this week alone, we're giving about 10 tons worth of produce and fresh food to residents and the surrounding communities. Because we have such a large foothold and a footprint here in Houston, we're able to use our properties as staging grounds to help the communities around them. And it's not only on a humanitarian basis a good idea, but on a business idea. If you bring up the area around you, you're bringing up your business as well. So that's what we've been focused on in the last year.
For sure. And, Manu, that actually segues really nicely into just your model. You are buying up properties that are actually in really bad shape and then
Mm-hmm.
just transforming them. And I've seen really, certain apartment complexes where the surrounding area and the complex itself is crime ridden. It's just kind of in not so good condition, not well managed, and then you guys are coming in and kind of cleaning house, and then that's improving the area around it. Tell us, your approach. Like, why do you look for these areas? I'm noticing they're all west of and outside the 610 loop,
Mm-hmm.
sort of in the southwest west side of Houston. What is your target market?
So, target market, usually we look for properties in the C class. So C class apartments tend to be working class apartments, combined household income is probably less than 50,000. These are your workforce housing, tend to be immigrant populations. Actually, growing up, when we moved to Houston, we lived in these type of apartments because, you're just looking for a safe, clean place to live. You're not looking for frills. You're not looking for anything fancy because most of the time you're spending your time at work or, out with the kids, things along those lines. And for us, it's important to provide safe, affordable housing to people who, they might be first time renters. They might be their first time in the US. And that's important to us because we want to make a good impression, and B, make Houston as that melting pot that everyone knows about. And we want to just be welcoming to them. Also, for example, I pulled up this one property that we have, Villa Barcelona. You're pretty familiar with that area
Mhm.
in the Sharpstown area. This property was probably half abandoned when we bought it.
I
Some
saw
of the
it.
stories
It's a scary place.
some of the stories I won't share, but it was a pretty scary place when we took it over. And we spent probably 15,000 a door. So probably, couple of $1 million on this property, just rehabbing it, fixing it up, making it look better, making it, operate better, fix the pools, fix the ACs, everything from the ground up. And you can now see it's a place most people would want to live. I mean, this is one of our models, of course, so it looks gorgeous, but this
Yeah.
is kind of the typical unit you'll get in the property. And for people who want to move somewhere, they're looking for something easy. Carpeting has gone out the door. People don't want carpet. They want, either vinyl or tile, especially in wet areas. Because for immigrant populations, one thing I'm sure growing up, and the kitchen is very important.
Yeah.
That's where the family gathers around. So you want easy cleanup. So they don't want carpeting or they don't want any fuss in that area. They want ceramic, granite.
Nutrition's important to everybody, really.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's where this family is centered around. So in our kitchens, what we do, we put in granite, black appliances just because they look good. We'll redo the cabinets, put in some backsplashes just to add that kind of look to the property, and that's important for everyone. And
Yeah.
this kind of just gives you another idea. And people really love this open kind of bar concept because it helps connect the family living area to the kitchen. So it becomes a place where the family can kind of center around. So these little things are, go into the thought process when you're working on properties because you want to make sure that they're functional, not just look good.
Exactly. And and that backsplash isn't just your basic,
Mhm.
backsplash. Those are some nice, mosaic tiles and those
Yeah, it's a definite upgrade. So
waxes.
we upgrade the backsplashes there, and we also do it in the bathroom. We put in, you know, um, a better backsplash in the bathroom. And this is just, you want, our motto has always been, giving A-class service in C-class apartments. A lot of times C-class apartments get, and even B+ apartments or B- apartments, however you want to do the scale, get
Hmm.
a bad rap for, a lot of slumlords
Yeah,
or, people just trying to milk the population that don't know better. And, our mentality is we want to give a product that everyone can be proud of. We want people to be proud of where they live. And from a business sense, it makes sense because you get that word of mouth advertising. And at the end of the day, you feel good. You want to be able to go to bed. You want to feel proud of what you're doing. That's our mentality.
for sure. And that backsplash there, was that just a backsplash or glass and stone? What was the material there?
Yeah, it's a glass and stone.
Okay, that's what I was thinking looking at that. And I've been into some of your units while they
Hmm.
were in the middle of being remodeled, and some more, completed, and some completely, completed.
Right.
And so, yeah, for sure, it's not what people would expect, or, especially before you guys came in. So I was going to say the pictures definitely are not what these apartments
Yeah,
used to
but
look like.
I feel like the before pictures is nothing anyone want to see. But
Right.
one thing I can show you here is this gazebo. When we first took a look at the property,
Mhm.
it had holes all over it. You could see termite nests, things along that lines. It was just a derelict property, and
Yeah.
we bought it out of bankruptcy, or it was going into foreclosure. And it was just a good opportunity for us because we had a few properties in the area. And, when we talk, we have a good partnership with HPD. A lot of the crime was coming out of this property. People were just living here, kind of loitering. There was no oversight. So when we bought this property, when we fixed it up, things got a lot better. So, and of course, we added a few architectural looks to the property so that we could kind of spruce it up, make it pop, and it's paid off dividends for us. We took it at an occupancy of probably, I want to say 50%, and now we're over 95% occupied, and we always get good reviews on it. And whenever there's an issue that pops up, we try to commit to doing the service within 24 hours because to us, our residents are the most important thing.
Hmm. And along those lines too, when you came in, it's not just about renovating the interior and the exterior and all the different amenities, but even the tenants who were living there before,
Hmm.
the previous management was perhaps letting them, go without paying rent. And so you actually had to, go to court and take out some of the tenants who were very delinquent, and just,
Right.
replace them with better paying tenants to increase the value of the property, and to make it a better place for everyone to live.
Right. No, exactly. I mean, you have to cycle out certain people who haven't been paying. When you take over any property, sometimes you'll get residents who haven't paid in 6 months, who just kind of fell through the cracks, and you have to go through that process. What we do is when we show up on a property, say, hey, everyone come talk to us. We want to work with you. Payment plans, we'll work with them on payment plans. Sometimes people just realize, you know they're having a little hardship, especially this last year. We want to make sure that no one has to choose between putting food on the table and paying their rent. So we work very strongly with our residents, and our goal is that customer engagement because at the end of the day, everyone's a person, and you have to treat them the right
Yeah, and we found the same thing. And even though you guys are apartments and we're scattered site housing, it's kind of, there are similarities in that these renters, some of them have run into financial difficulties. And so for those who legitimately, need the help, they've been able to apply. And I'm sure you guys have gotten, I know that, through Baker Ripley, for example, some of the assistance that our
way.
government has gotten,
Right.
for people to apply toward their rent, and that the assistance goes directly to the landlord so that we can apply it directly, to their rent. And they've been able to get some other assistance for utilities and other things as well, which is outside of our, purview, but
Hmm.
it helps them to just overall be able to, to continue. So yeah, let me see what else can we talk about. Actually, the apartment market in general in Houston, even outside
Hmm.
the class, can you kind of tell us, what the status is now? We're entering a new year, still a
Right.
pandemic, but looks like we hopefully will be coming out of it maybe in the next several months or so.
Hmm. Yeah, it's been quiet. I think so we were at a peak in the apartment market probably in January, February. We were peaking, or we were on that uptrend where prices were high. People could sell their apartment complexes at a premium. People were buying it at a premium. And then when the pandemic hit, everyone kind of hit the brakes. They
Mhm.
wanted to see what was going to happen. Delinquency started going up. And, the fear was in the mind, how long is this going to last? People thought, oh, maybe June, July, and it kept dragging on. So the apartments that definitely felt the brunt of it were your luxury class apartments. People, essential workers, all our people were considered essential. So we had our apartment complexes open. We followed protocols. We closed all our leasing offices
Mhm.
to make sure to walk-in traffic and did appointment only, started doing the 6 feet apart, everything social distancing. But the market itself, it slowed down. Everyone kind of was worried about where the next renter's going to come. No one's going to want to move during the pandemic. No one's want to leave during the pandemic, and then the eviction moratorium showed up, and
Mhm.
you can't evict anyone either if they're behind on rent. We have some residents who haven't paid rent in 6 months or
Mhm.
8 months, and we keep trying to work with them, and some of them know the system and they're going to play it. But that's a minority of people. The majority of our people are, making their payments, and if they're not able to, again, payment plans, or we're working with them to figure out what the best opportunity is. But Houston in general, I think we're doing okay. I haven't seen any issues, honestly, across the country, other than the fact there is a little frustration on these eviction moratoriums. Of course, we don't want to throw anyone out that doesn't deserve it, but there are definitely times where,
Yeah.
as a company, we have to make our payments, our
Yeah.
mortgage payments, our tax payments. And um, at the end of the day, we feel like we're being unfairly targeted a little bit. No one's asking HEB for free groceries, or,
Yes.
the pharmacies for free medicine,
Mhm.
and we feel like, well, if something's going to happen, we want to play our part, we want to help out, but we just don't want to be the only ones that are, singled out.
You're absolutely right on that, and we're with you on all of that as well. It's like, we work with people with for payment plans. It's better to keep people in their homes, even if they're a little bit late. We can work with them, and we have. But it's like there are some situations. For example, when we had an eviction moratorium, where
Mhm.
a tenant all of a sudden, once the moratorium was lifted and we could go to court, he came up with over $9,000 overnight for us, which
Right.
clearly was a case of them not wanting to pay, and just taking advantage of the fact that we couldn't do anything about it. And it isn't fair, yeah, because these landlords, they have all those costs that they have to pay, and nobody's
Hmm.
forgiving those. And some people have the wrong idea that, oh well, you can get the forbearance for mortgage and things like that. Well, that's only government owned, like FHA mortgages, for
Hmm.
example. And for example, all our landlords are on conventional, or mortgages that don't qualify for those forgivenesses and forbearances. So yeah, for sure, it's we all need to do our part to try to get payments in, and and work with each other, but to be honest about it. So yes, I'm totally in agreement. Yeah, nobody's asking for free anything except for free rent, it seems like.
Yeah,
So,
and
uh,
we're working out. We waived all our late fees in the first probably 4 to 6 months of the pandemic, and we're still waiving them as needed.
mhm,
uh, we're, like I said, the payment plans, we're going out there door to door, calling our people, making sure, they have the assistance they need. Meals on Wheels, we're working strongly with them to deliver hot food, work with the Houston Food Bank to make sure people have groceries. The elderly are getting their stuff. Anything we can do, we're helping. But at the end of the day, even if we got a forbearance, there's a lump sum at the end that has to be paid. And if the money's not coming in, you know, it's a problem. The PPP definitely helped us the first time around.
mhm.
Our revenues have been fallen 25%, and those businesses that were affected that strongly definitely deserve the second round of PPP to
Mhm.
help people stay in business. Luckily, we didn't lay off anyone. So, and, we're actually continued the hiring process through the pandemic, just to use that PPP money to give people the opportunity to stay on their feet.
Yeah, and I don't know if you want to share this at all, so feel free to decide. But do you plan to acquire more apartment complexes this year or in the very near future?
So last year we acquired one apartment complex for a 400 unit property, Sharpstown Gardens in the Sharpstown area. It's a
Hmm.
great opportunity for us, value add. This year we're looking to grow about 10 to 15%. We think that Houston's the place to be, and we think there's a lot of growth in the area and there's a lot of opportunity. So yeah, we're gonna go full steam ahead. We're gonna keep our ears to the ground and see what's going on in the economy. But right now, as you know, interest rates are low, and
Mhm.
it's almost like free money out there to get on the lending side. And we think there's a lot of good that can be done by buying new complexes and kind of fixing them up.
For sure. And I mean, people are still moving. Like you said, after the first
Mhm.
couple months, everyone kind of stood still, not knowing what was going on or, how safe anything was. But once people started realizing, oh, I can wear a mask, I can social distance, I can do this, safely and, sanitize and wipe things down. People have been moving in droves and, like we're all very busy leasing and selling homes, especially now, with the new year, 2021. So anyway, but yes, this all very interesting stuff. Any final things that you wanted to add, Manu, before we wrap up? I just
I
noticed we're wearing
think,
the same color shirt, by the way.
yeah, I know we're matching, and we
Not
definitely did
planned.
not plan that, but it worked out for the best. I guess that rice blue is still in us a little bit. So
There you go.
no, I think the Houston market's strong, and for anyone who's listening that's outside of Houston, it's a very weak market. Please stay away. But no, we're doing really well, and that just I think things are great. I think there's a lot of optimism with the vaccines coming out, and I think with the new administration coming in, hopefully things normalize. They're planning to give 1 million vaccines a day for the next 100 days. Hopefully that works out. Unfortunately, there's going to be a new eviction moratorium, I think, till September. That's what there seems like it's going to happen. But I hope you know cooler heads prevail, and I hope things get a little better there. But I think overall, as a country, as a nation, we've weathered the storm. We're doing okay. I think Houston's great. I think with all the tech companies moving in, with supply chain management companies moving in, the warehouses, the ship channel,
Hmm.
Houston's economy is ready to take back off. I think anyone who's worried about that's not. But what we need to do is focus on the everyday person who needs help. We need to focus on, just being a little better to everyone, and, giving people a chance and helping them out. That's the number one thing. And that's kind of what we're focusing on. If anyone comes to us and they need a little help, that's what we're here for. It's not, and the money will follow eventually.
Hmm. And you mentioned about industries. Of course, medical is huge in Houston, and
Hmm.
thank goodness, especially during this pandemic. But that's also a great, economic base for our area as well. And
Yeah.
not just the medical center, but we have so many large hospital systems, that have kind of suburb and other exterior, exurb locations around the greater Houston area. So really serving a wide, geographical area of the population.
Right. And I would guess probably like 40% of our residents, work for the medical industry, either, as techs or, support or some kind of side, industry related to it, because it's just so big and so strong. And all our properties are so
Mhm.
close to the medical center. I think most of our properties, you could drive to the medical center within 20 minutes. So
Yeah.
it makes a huge difference, and it's such a driver for this economy. So we're not oil and gas anymore. Thank God. We're diversified. We're poised to take off. And I think Houston is. I think the numbers say we're going to have the biggest growth of all cities over the next 20 to 30 years.
Yep. Texas is actually the number one place where people are not leaving, but actually moving to here.
Yeah.
So
As
yeah.
long as they don't move here in the summer, don't do that. You don't want that to be your first impression of Texas. Maybe try to move during, the winter or something. It's not
Right. They'll turn around and go right back to where they came from and think that's
exactly,
summer.
but no, Texas is where everyone seems to be moving to. We have great, you know, like income tax laws and everything along that line. And it's just a great place. People are happy. People are friendly here. We don't all ride horses and wear cowboy hats, but maybe that could be a cool thing to
But we
do.
do that too.
Yeah, we do that too. But no, I think it's great. And number one thing is we have space. I think
Yeah.
that's awesome.
And Houston, I think, is the most air conditioned city in the world. I don't know if that's like a true fact or just a saying, but I mean, even if it's not the number one, it's got to be close to it because definitely,
Yeah, and it's required. If you've
yeah.
been here in the summers and you don't have air conditioning, more power to you. But I've moved to other cities where air conditioning was optional,
Right.
and I didn't understand it. I
Yeah.
was like, no, I need an air conditioned apartment. How do you not live with air conditioning? So
You know, we
Uh,
got air conditioning, lots of pools, just like you showed in your community. So it's okay to move here in the summer too.
yeah, definitely. And I appreciate you having me on this. This is fun, and we'll definitely
Absolutely.
have to do this again.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Manu. A lot of great insights. Got to see and just get a glimpse of the apartment world in Houston, and it's been very helpful. So, thank you so much for joining me today. And thank you to the audience for watching. Definitely follow and subscribe and like and all that good stuff on Facebook and YouTube. Weekly Wednesdays, Smarter Real Estate, where I arm you with practical strategies to be a smarter buyer, seller, tenant, or landlord. Hope you have a great week, and we will see you again soon.
Thank you, Julie.